Tom. Just nice and easy. You can get on him. Peace. Peace. No. Wait, just wait. Load again.
Life offers no guarantees, but the one thing we've learned for sure is that the time we have is indeed precious. The more time we spend with family, friends, and with nature can make the difference between living a good life and living a great one. Join us on our quest to be participants rather than observers, to learn from our mistakes, to share our successes and our failures as we spend all of the time we have chasing our dreams, fueling our passion, and fueling the fire in the great outdoors. Closed captioning for Fuel the Fire is brought to you by letsrolloutals.ca.
Welcome back to Fuel the Fire TV. I'm here near Rockland, and I'm with my hunting partner, Sly. This is a great spot. Now, Sly, you shot a bird opening day?
Yeah, Saturday morning, second day.
Second day, and we know this is a good spot. One, we can hear them gobbling, and we've seen a couple of hens. Last year, we were hunting with Sly's son, Hugo. It was his first hunting.
Yeah.
We roosted a couple of birds, and they came down. We actually heard them thud, and Hugo had his first crack at some decent toms. Actually, we're gonna show you just how awesome it was. Probably gonna do the same thing as the last one, but we're gonna shoot this one, okay? Oh, he's putting on a show. I'm on him. Load again. We're gonna do a little lesson on turkey fever. Because for his first turkey hunt, that was pretty impressive. We had a monster tom at about 6 yards, but Hugo thought maybe he's too close, and he wanted a little more challenge. So he waited for another tom that had about a 10-inch beard, and he gave him a warning shot. And he's like, okay, one more warning shot, and then that's it. So he gave him 2 warning shots, and now we're seriously going to start turkey hunting.
Twice, not once, twice.
Yeah, 2 times. Third time will be a charm for Hugo for sure. But we saw some hens come across this morning, and we know that there's a gobbler. We can hear some gobbling up top, and it sounds like they're actually moving out and coming down. We got some bigger birds that are moving down the hill there. Just over here. They wanted a piece of that jig. That jig decoy, they just beat it up. They didn't want anything to do with that hen at all.
No.
They must be still bacheloring it up and trying to establish dominance and making sure that no one in town is a wild card. We're trying to hammer a big tom, and we know there's a couple of big ones in here. So thanks for bringing me out to that. That's awesome.
This segment of Fuel the Fire TV was brought to you by Bait to Go. This segment of Fuel the Fire TV was brought to you by Manitoulin Chrysler.
Tyler and I are going to head down to Ottawa. We're going to try our luck with some turkeys and see what happens. Weather's great, so stay tuned. It's going to be a great episode. It sounded like one over there again. It just sounded like there might have been one over this way in one of the fields, well, on the edge of one of the other fields. So we're going to walk to the corner of this field. Just a young guy though. Doesn't have his full fan, like the full bars across there. Oh, that's awesome. Well, here he is. We looked at the footage and it ended up being a little blurry with the branches in front of us, but they were both about to take off and we really wanted to get one. This is still a beautiful bird. Nice, he was a big body. He was a good size bigger than this one, but just the way it works out. And this one he didn't really want to jump the fence, and I gave him a few more calls and he kind of wasn't really sure what to do and paused just long enough for me to get my gun up and get a good shot on him, and he dropped right here, did a little flop, and that was about it. But no, a beautiful bird. I'm really happy. It'll be he'll taste really good. He's got some beautiful colors on him. Just really, really nice. So we're really new at turkey hunting, so we kind of messed up our setup a little bit, and it kind of backfired on us, and had to rearrange a few times in our little kind of makeshift blind that we had. It kind of didn't really work out, but we learned a lot from this one, and just like we've learned a lot from every other one we've been on. And you know, we just kind of keep learning. That's the name of the game, is get out here and just have fun and just kind of learn through trial and error, right? I mean, most times it's mostly error, but this time it worked out for both of us. I mean, it's not really much of error. We both got our birds, so it's been a great little week. We're really happy. We really want to thank Greg Fleming and his family for having us down and letting us stay at his summer cabin while we tromp through all his property and his friend's property to try to get us some turkeys. So make sure to fuel your passion, fuel your fire, get outdoors.
Today on Fuel the Fire TV, we're hunting rough grouse up in behind Espanola, about a couple hours from our house. A little bit of a family tradition we do every year. We spend a weekend up here just doing some bird hunting and seeing the scenery. Letting daylight break here to let the birds get out a little bit, and we're gonna hit the trail. Landon's gonna give us a demonstration on how to clean and how easy they are to clean rough grouse. So can you do a demonstration there, buddy?
Run step as close as you can on his wings, grab his legs, pull up.
Okay, this part here just pulls off of them. And there you're left with the breast. So we'll just finish cleaning off these few feathers and detach one wing and leave the other one there for identification. And there you have your partridge breast. Now another good part of these birds, not to waste much of the bird, is the actual legs. So we finish peeling this off. So we strip that all back off of his legs and tail. And now what we're going to do with this part of the with the bird is we're going to make a stew out of this. So you have his thighs and his leg, and we'll put that in a stew later on and make a partridge stew. So another little piece to keep is the gizzard here. You have to basically split it down the middle, and inside is all of his, what he's been regurgitating, and remove all this stuff. And then there's an inner skin in here. Once you get your fingernail under it, it will just peel away like that. And then the gizzard you can also throw in your stew for some added flavor.
Let's get some of them.
Hey folks, we're gonna do a quick hunt here with Cody Hunter, Prostaff for Fuel of Fire TV. We got Stapler and Dan and Randy and Bill, and we're set up on a little field here on Manitoulin Island. We're gonna see if we can grab some birds today.
Oh, another one, buddy. You couldn't decoy much better than that, eh?
This thing just falls.
Knock it off.
Surprised that one kept going there.
That was a fun hunt. These guys nailed some geese and some ducks, some mallards, and yeah, it was a good morning. It's always a good morning when you're out in the field, fueling the passion, fueling the fire, and getting outdoors. This segment of Fuel to Fire TV was brought to you by JR Wetlands Outfitters. This segment of Fuel to Fire TV was brought to you by Buckdown Archery.
Welcome to the Wild Game Kitchen, guys. My name's Ray. I'm from Kickaboo Meat Seasonings. Today, we're gonna show you how to prepare some goose breast. We're gonna prepare this as a goose roulandin. All this silver skin here is what's going to make the goose breast very tough. We're gonna get all this silver skin off, and I'm gonna show you the steps on how to do that. So I'm just gonna take my knife here on the front of the breast. This is where the breast plate was, and I'm gonna run my knife in through here, and we're just gonna take off some of this lighter silver skin in here. Then we're gonna flip this over, and what you're gonna see here is a nice little seam that starts in here, and you can see how that silver skin crawls in underneath there. And we're just gonna start into that seam, and then I'm just gonna take my fingers and my knife, and I'm just gonna chew away at this. And what we wanna do is just follow this line all the way back to the end of the breast. Now all we have to do is take a nice thin knife. A fillet knife works really well. And we just start it right in under this skin and go nice and easy and remove that silver skin. The goose breast is looking pretty clean. That means it should be fairly tender. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna cut it lengthwise, and we're gonna cut it into 2 or 3 thin strips so that we can pound it out nice and tender. So down here, you need a slightly longer knife, and we just hold it nice and flat, and we try and get them as uniform as possible. And then we'll do the bottom one. You should be able to get 3 strips out of 1 breast. The little part, we're gonna cut that in half as well. For a total of 5 pieces. We just take a simple mallet, and we're just gonna pound this out as thin as we can. This is gonna help tenderize the meat, as well as make it a little bit more thin. Make sure you do both sides. Once you've got all your breast laid out nice and flat like this, we put it in our meat juice marinade, and we let it marinate for about 24 hours. We're gonna get our marinated meat strips out. We just lay the pieces out nice and flat, side by side, no holes. And then we're gonna use a little bit of our onion and garlic seasoning, about a tablespoon or 2. We're gonna mix that into the cream cheese, and we're gonna spread it right across this meat roll before we roll it into itself. Okay, so we've got our cream cheese mixed in with our onion and garlic. It's laid across in a nice neat roll across the top of the meat strips here. Now what we're gonna do is roll the meat over top of the cheese, and we're gonna end up with a nice cheese-filled goose breast meat roll. So I'm just gonna press it down here, and then I'm just gonna keep pulling the foil and roll the meat onto itself, nice and tight. Just give her a little check there. Looks like it's rolling quite nice. And that's what it looks like when it's all rolled up. Now, we're gonna take this meat roll, and we're gonna lay it across Fuel the Fire TV's most favorite spice, bacon. So we've got 1 pound of bacon laid out like this. We've got the meat strips lying this way. Notice that I've got 2 strips hanging off of either end. What happens is we're gonna lay the meat roll in here, and we're gonna use these strips to cover up the ends and keep the cheesy goodness inside the meat roll during cooking. We take our meat roll in the foil, and I'm just gonna pull it back a little bit, and I'm just gonna finish the roll right into the center of the bacon. Now that everything is centered here in the middle of the bacon, we're gonna take 1 end piece, and we're gonna crisscross it just slightly over one side, and then we're gonna come over this side. And now we're gonna braid bacon. So we're gonna take each strip, and we're gonna alternate working our way down the meat roll from one end to the other. The bacon's gonna shrink, and it's gonna create a casing around that meat roll. So this meat roll is gonna go on a rack. It's gonna go in the oven at around 375 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gonna be in there for about 50 minutes, or until the internal temperature of the meat roll hits about 160. Don't be afraid to take it out of the oven, let it rest for a few minutes, make sure that all the dripping is complete, and then once cool, you're gonna be able to slice this up. Neil is gonna take the meat roll, he's gonna put it in the oven and show you guys the finished product. If you like this recipe and you'd like to learn more, check out kickabooshop.com. That's this week's Wild Game Kitchen.
Hey folks, in this week's Conservation Corner, we actually were lucky to to get one of these birds that has a band on it. Now, we checked it out, we pulled the band off right away. It was a gorgeous mallard drake, and it was hatched in 2011. And we just looked it up. We punched in the number to www.reportband.gov, and we know that this bird was, where was it from? Linesville, Pennsylvania, hatched in 2011, and just a fantastic looking mallard drake. Just great. So if you ever do that and you want to actually get a little bit more information about where your bird comes from, then that's what you do. You just go online and check it out, punch in the number, and it's all registered. So that's this week's Conservation Corner.
Nice shot, man.
Well, folks, there you have it. What a fantastic shoot this morning. We're out on Manitoulin Island duck hunting the end of the season because we're getting ready to bow hunt some deer. But we got Cody and Stacy as usual, Brian jumping in the mix, and so is Jarvis here. He's also from Chiging. Piling up some green heads. We did really well, as you can see. And we actually got some blacks too. We got three blacks, and we got a fantastic mallard with a band on it. So it was just a great shoot all around this morning. We're out here fueling our passion and fueling our fire by getting outdoors.